There comes a moment when you realize that weakness is not just a feeling, it's a burden. It sits on your shoulders like a heavy chain, weighing down every step, every decision, every opportunity. You feel it when you hesitate to take action, when you shrink back in fear, when you let your doubts control you. It is a slow poison seeping into your bones, making you believe that you are incapable, that you are destined to remain the same. And that is the most dangerous part of weakness. It convinces you that it is permanent, that you are stuck, that no matter how much you want to change, you never will. But that is a lie. Weakness is not a life sentence. It is not something you are born with and forced to carry forever. It is simply the result of choices, of avoiding discomfort, of fearing struggle, of refusing to push beyond your limits. And because it is created by choices, it can be destroyed by choices. The problem is, most people never reach that realization. They live their entire lives in chains, never understanding that they are the ones holding the key. They never reach the breaking point, the moment when the pain of staying weak becomes greater than the pain of change. Because until you feel that pain, until weakness becomes unbearable, you will never have the fire to transform. But when that moment comes, when you finally look at yourself and see the weight of your own limitations pressing down on you, you have a choice. You can turn away, pretend you don't see it, bury yourself in distractions, or you can face it. You can let the pain of weakness consume you, let it burn so deeply into your soul that you have no choice but to fight back. That is the moment that separates the weak from the strong. That is the moment where transformation begins, not when things are easy, not when motivation is high, but when the pain of staying the same becomes unbearable. Think about every time weakness has cost you, every time you gave up on yourself, every time you let fear dictate your decisions, every time you hesitated when you should have taken action. That pain, it is real. It is the weight of every missed opportunity, every failure, every moment where you knew you could have done more, but didn't. And if you don't let that pain drive you, it will destroy you. It will eat away at you slowly, until one day you wake up and realize that your life has passed you by, and you never became the person you were meant to be. Weakness does not show itself all at once. It creeps in little by little. It starts when you tell yourself that skipping one workout won't matter, that one more hour of sleep is more important than discipline, that you'll start tomorrow. And before you know it, those small compromises add up. You find yourself out of shape, undisciplined, unmotivated, and the worst part, you don't even realize how it happened, because weakness is deceptive. It doesn't announce itself. It whispers, convincing you that everything is fine, that you are still strong, that you still have time. But deep down you know the truth. You feel it in the way you hesitate, in the way you avoid challenges, in the way you let excuses control your life. And then one day, the reality hits you like a punch to the gut. You look in the mirror, and you see someone you don't recognize. You see someone who has let themselves slip, who has let life beat them down, and for the first time, you feel the full weight of your weakness pressing down on you, suffocating you, reminding you of everything you could have been but weren't. That moment is the most painful moment you will ever experience, but it is also the most important, because it is in that moment that you decide, will you let this pain break you, or will you use it to build something stronger? Pain is a warning sign. It exists to tell you that something is wrong, that something needs to change. Weakness is not supposed to feel comfortable. It is supposed to hurt, because that pain is what forces you to wake up, to see reality, to understand that you cannot keep living this way. If you ignore it, if you numb it with distractions, you are only delaying the inevitable. But if you embrace it, if you allow yourself to feel the full weight of your weakness, you will find something deep inside of you that you never knew existed. The will to fight, the will to grow, the will to become something greater. The truth is, every strong person you admire was once weak. Every disciplined person, every successful person, every person who has ever achieved anything meaningful started in the same place, struggling, doubting, failing. The difference is, they didn't let their weakness define them. They didn't let the pain break them. They used it. They let it fuel them, drive them, push them past every limit. every obstacle, every excuse. They understood that the only way to kill weakness is to endure it, to fight through it, to refuse to let it control them for another second. And that is the decision you must make. Right now, will you continue to live in the comfort of weakness, knowing that it will only lead to more pain, more regret, more disappointment? Or will you embrace the suffering, lean into the discomfort, and use it as the fire that will forge you into something unbreakable? Because there is no in-between. You are either growing stronger, or you are getting weaker. You are either taking control of your life, or you are letting it control you. And the only way forward, the only way to break free from the chains of weakness, is to suffer, to struggle, to push yourself harder than you ever have before. Part 2. The breaking point. The moment will come when everything in you wants to quit, when the pain is no longer just in your mind, but in your body, in your soul, in every fiber of your being. When every step forward feels impossible, when every ounce of effort feels like it's being crushed under the weight of doubt, exhaustion, and failure. This is the breaking point, the moment where weakness either wins or dies. And this is where most people fall. Because this is not just a test of strength, it is a war of will. It is the moment where every excuse you've ever made, every limitation you've ever believed in, every fear you've ever clung to comes rushing in all at once. It will whisper to you, tell you that you have nothing left, that it's okay to stop, that you've already done enough. And if you listen to that voice, even for a second, you will fall. Because weakness is always waiting for an opportunity to take control again. It doesn't leave willingly, it fights, it clings to you. And the only way to destroy it is to refuse to let it win. But the pain will push you to your limit. It will make you question why you even started. It will make you wonder if this fight is even worth it. And this is where most people fail. Not because they are incapable, not because they are truly weak, but because they don't understand that this moment is the gateway to transformation. They see struggle as a sign that they should stop, when in reality, it is the proof that they are on the right path. Because the only way to grow stronger is to break through the point where you thought you couldn't go any further. And make no mistake, this will not be easy. Nothing about this process is easy. Strength is not built in comfort. It is not built in safety. It is built in fire, in suffering, in the moments where you have every reason to stop, but choose to keep going. It is in those moments where your true self is revealed, not the version of you that is comfortable, not the version of you that is safe, but the version of you that is unbreakable, the version of you that refuses to be controlled by weakness ever again. Think about the people who inspire you, the ones who have pushed beyond every obstacle, every failure, every moment of doubt. Do you think they got there by stopping when things got hard? Do you think they reached greatness by listening to the voice that told them to quit? No, they got there because they embraced the pain. They welcomed the struggle. They understood that true power is built in suffering, and they refused to let weakness steal their destiny, because that is exactly what weakness does. It steals from you. It robs you of the life you could have had, the strength you could have built, the person you were meant to become. And if you let it, it will take everything. It will leave you with nothing but regret. Regret for every time you backed down, every time you gave in, every time you let fear dictate your choices. And that is the most painful thing of all. Not the struggle, not the suffering, but the realization that you let your own weakness destroy you. But there is another path, a harder path, a path that will demand everything from you, but will give you something priceless in return. The power to take control of your life, the power to shape yourself into the person you were meant to be, the power to face any challenge, any obstacle, any pain, and come out stronger. But this path comes at a cost. You must be willing to endure. You must be willing to suffer. You must be willing to push past the breaking point, to look weakness in the face and tell it that it has no power over you anymore. And when that moment comes, when you feel like you have nothing left, when the pain is overwhelming, when your mind is screaming for you to stop, you have to make a choice. You can give in, you can let weakness win, or you can take one more step, one more rep, one more push forward, even when it feels impossible, even when you don't know if you can keep going. Because every time you refuse to quit, you take power away from weakness, and every time you keep going, you grow stronger. And that strength, it compounds, it builds on itself. Every moment of suffering you endure, every challenge you push through, every time you refuse to give up, you are building something inside of you that cannot be broken. And one day, you will look back and realize that the person you used to be, the one who hesitated, who doubted, who let fear control them, is gone, replaced by someone who is unstoppable, someone who does not fear struggle, but welcomes it, someone who understands that pain is not the enemy, it is the catalyst for greatness. But you have to decide, right now, will you let the pain of weakness define you, or will you let it drive you to become something greater? Because weakness will not leave willingly, it will fight, it will resist, it will do everything in its power to keep you in chains. And the only way to break free is to fight back, to push forward, to refuse to let weakness win ever again.